Welcome to the Corporate Learning Network videocast. I'm Jeff Cattell. Today I have with me Allison Rossett, Professor Emerita of Education Technology at San Diego State University. Allison will be speaking at this year's Corporate Learning Week, November 12th through the 15th at Disney's Yacht Club Resort in Orlando, Florida. Allison, welcome to the program.
Thanks, Jeff. Happy to be here.
We're excited to have you as well. So I know you're going to be moderating the panel Lessons from Learning's Elite, which includes a number of chief learning officers from Fortune 500 companies across the country. So can you let us know what topics you'll be discussing with them?
Sure. One topic. We had a meeting and we talked about it. And one topic grabbed everybody. And it grabbed me too. Because I like topics where I don't know the answer. I don't think it's easy or simple, and I don't think we focused on it enough. And the topic is culture. How can the learning organization contribute to a dynamic and nurturing and productive culture? And, of course, that's really complicated when you think about it in global organizations, and you think how much standardization and how much localization, and you think about it across the different kinds of people who work in organizations, from sales and marketing to research and development. So I think the topic is, because it's how many people have talked about it, what gets in the way of the transfer from learning to performance. Mm-hmm. And very often the answer is culture. It's a problem with the culture. So I guess what this means, if we do this, is that we're going to get involved in creating a fertile environment for folks to work within, one that nurtures their best selves.
Yeah. Great. That's, I think, a really exciting topic, as you mentioned, and some really exciting things happening right now in the space that will definitely be talked about, I'm sure. So kind of shifting the focus a little bit, I know your background is education technology. When I'm talking to learning and training leaders, one of the things that always seems to come up is the question of how do I add these new forms of learning technology without just adding them for technology's sake? So what kind of advice could you give to people with that kind of conundrum?
Well, I think you said it well. You don't add technology for technology's sake. That wouldn't even be smart if you were basically a technology company. You add technology for two reasons. Because it helps you do what you do better. And let me give, for example, you do it to reach across geographies, mm-hmm. to close space. To send messages is so much better to send via technology than it is to stick a person on the road with a suitcase with rollies on it. You can use technology to second messages in the workplace. So let's say you've had some kind of a training event. You've gathered people together. Well, transfer is a problem. That's got to keep us up at night. Great way to move those messages closer to where the work gets done is via technology. Mm-hmm. Other kinds of wonderful things that technology can do is deliver support, policies, and community out there where the work gets done, out there where people live. That's better than, separate events set in time and place, because mm-hmm. then there's always a chasm, a moat. There's a moat around those events, and then we have to hope and pray and obviously do things to transcend the moat. So technology just lets us use more strategies, use them better. Another thing, colleague Jim Marshall and I did a study and talked to learning professionals about what their top priorities were looking forward into the future. And the answer was personalization. Hmm. Personalization. Has huge implications. Personalization. Can't do personalization without technology.
Yeah.
How you going to do that? Think about it. Technology is going to help you do the assessment, and then technology is going to help you deliver both push and pull of learning assets, information, heuristics, guidance, guidelines, policies, community, peers, and subject matter experts, continuous conversation, making sure that subject matter experts are able to get in there and elevate the messages, and then continue more assessment, because what we want to do via technology is help people gain insight into themselves, but also help the organization gain insight into its people, make it more transparent.
That makes a lot of sense.
I mean, technology it's not interesting as a thing. It's not interesting as a device. It's interesting for what it enables in terms of where it goes, reach, accessibility, tirelessness, endless patience, the ability to bring people together in social learning. Oh, it's good all around.
Yeah. Sort of jumping off one of the points you honed in on there, that research that you did with a colleague looking at sort of what people are looking towards for the future, and the answer was personalization. I'm wondering if you can highlight some additional emerging trends that you're personally paying attention to.
Oh, I'm very interested in mobile. But I'm not interested in mobile because I love this is an old, kind of old phone. I was just reading an article about the new one, the 5S. And I might, with the new iOS 7, look, it sounds like I'm doing a commercial. Really, I don't think. Sure, I have stock in some mutual fund, but I don't have any separate stock. So, I don't. Really. But, I mean, just think what this can do. I had a doc student, and he was doing his doctorate, of course, because he was a doc student, and which meant he had tons of reading to do and tons of writing to do and lots of data analysis to do and a lot to worry about. But he also had to make a living. And so he was taking courses at San Diego State, taking courses at Claremont Graduate School, which is a 2.5 hours away.
Yeah. Quickly
I forget. And he was also teaching in the community college. He was teaching math and science in the community college. So he had a lot on his plate. He used his mobile devices to make the most of every moment. It was wonderful. He was writing on the road. He was researching on the road. He was doing it all. On demand, when he needed it, when he had a free moment, sitting in his car under a tree. That's pretty nifty. So mobile to me is, because it breaks down the hegemony of the classroom, which, rest assured, I loved the classroom. I had many good decades in the classroom. Still do go into the classroom, go into four walls in a space. But I really like the way technology allows more community and the instructor's arms and voice. So arms are longer and voice projects better.
Yeah.
In addition to peers and community. Wow, how could we not?
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, just wrapping things up, I know I've kept you on for a while now. What I want to ask you, which is potentially maybe one of the hardest questions that I think learning and training leaders ask themselves, but you sort of have this almost outside perspective a little bit. But what do you see as the biggest challenges that are facing the learning and training community today? And what steps can those leaders take to overcome these challenges?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't really think I have all that much of an outsider's perspective. It's true that I don't work in a learning organization for a company or a government agency. I don't. But I'm in them all the time. I work as a consultant, and at any one time, within the past 2 weeks, I've been in 3 different companies, a biotech, a telecom, and 2 telecoms. So, I do get to see, fast food and retail and, of course, technology. So, and I talk to the people who work in those organizations and people who lead them as well. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I am an outsider. But I'm also sort of slightly in. But after quibbling with that, I guess what I would say is the biggest problem confronting learning organizations right now is their posture vis-a-vis their identity and the line. And what I mean by that is they can be a great learning organization with a great edifice and a retreat center and lots of classrooms fully equipped with technology. That's not, that's not unusual. That's pretty typical.
Mm-hmm.
But better would be to be very line facing, customer facing, organization facing, and not be so proud of us and our edifice. We could have an edifice complex here, but rather to be much more insinuated into the day-to-day work and the strategic purposes of the organization. And so, how much are we a learning organization, and how much are we not so much that, but really a strategic part of the daily business of the sales organization and the R&D organization and manufacturing and compliance and so on and so forth. And I think probably the latter is a better way to go.
Great. All right, well, thanks, Allison. That was Allison Rossett, Professor Emerita of Education Technology at San Diego State University. For more information on Allison or any of the other speakers at this year's Corporate Learning Week, you can download an agenda by clicking the Download Now button below. Thanks for watching.